You're not weak or broken. That urge you can't shake, the craving that takes over, the void that never vanishes, it's not madness or a moral failure, it's pain, crying out for meaning. Carl Jung once wrote that addiction is a frustrated spiritual quest, the soul reaching for the infinite but finding only emptiness. Dr. Gabor Maté agrees. It's not why addiction, but why the pain. Addiction isn't the root problem. It's a makeshift solution to a wound that never healed. Think back to your first real hurt. Perhaps a time you weren't allowed to cry, or you were punished for speaking up. Maybe you learned early that love meant pleasing others and that expressing anger or sadness invited rejection. So you buried those feelings deep, wearing a polite mask while your true needs starved unseen. Now, whether it's alcohol, shopping, workaholism, or constant scrolling, these behaviors all serve the same purpose. They numb the ache of being unseen, unheard, unvalued. Picture the Buddhist metaphor of the hungry ghosts, creatures with tiny mouths and endless hunger, doomed to nibble at nothing. That's the heart of addiction, a relentless search for connection, relief, belonging. When love, acceptance, or safety are missing, the mind seeks substitutes. The dopamine rush from a drink or a viral post mimics the warmth of human bond, but it never satisfies. Worse, as the craving intensifies, you need more substance, more distraction, to feel even a moment's peace. This video isn't a lecture or a judgment. It's a mirror. We'll explore what drives you into compulsions, what Jung called the struggle between the true spirit and the false spirit, spiritus contrapositus. Jung's true spirit yearns for authentic connection with the self, while the false spirit lures you into quick fixes that deepen your fracture. Understanding this gives you a new lens. Addiction isn't a choice, but a desperate bid for relief. Before your first drink, before the first swipe, before any compulsion, there was unaddressed pain. Hungarian-Canadian physician Gabor Maté spent decades with people cast aside, homeless, chronically addicted, and found that everyone carried a deep emotional wound. Many endured abuse, neglect, or rejection. Even without dramatic trauma, a child who feels chronically unseen or uncared for develops a nervous system primed for distress. The result? A brain wired to seek soothing wherever it's found. In Maté's words, addiction is a solution someone found to cope with a trauma that still lives within. The brain learns, when I need relief, this works. Whether it's a pill, a binge, or a relationship that never satisfies, the pattern repeats because the pain persists. Treatment that stops at abstinence fights the symptom, not the cause, and often fails. True healing demands we look backward to the moments we felt unsafe, unloved, inadequate, and understand how those experiences rewired us. Jung saw addiction as a spiritual crisis. In his letter to Bill Wilson, co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, he explained that for many, alcohol represents a counterfeit divinity, a fleeting taste of transcendence. Spiritus contrapositus. The soul's impulse toward wholeness meets the counterfeit spirit of substances. Addiction, then, is the soul seeking sacred experiences in destructive forms. If you find this helpful, and this is resonating with you, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss new videos, coming every other day. Your support truly means a lot. Thank you. Recognizing this reframes addiction, not as shameful, but as a misguided attempt at self-reconnection. Yet even this insight isn't enough. Behind every compulsion lies the shadow, the parts of you rejected, repressed, or were taught to deny: anger, desire, grief, strength. Jung warned that what is not brought to consciousness emerges as fate. Your unacknowledged needs whisper, "Better not. Stay safe. Don't rock the boat." Each time you swallow your truth to avoid conflict or hide your pain, that shadow grows stronger. It sabotages your bold attempts at change, whispering that you don't deserve relief or growth. Consider every time you wanted to speak up but stayed silent, every boundary crossed and left unspoken, every favor you gave hoping for gratitude that never came. Those moments reinforce your hidden script. Your worth depends on pleasing others. That unconscious pact ensures the cycle continues. Pain drives addiction, addiction numbs the pain, and the core wound stays open. There is a way out, but it begins at the most uncomfortable spot, within. You must stop fighting addiction as an enemy and start listening to it as a messenger. Its relentless demands point you to the wound that needs attention. Real relief comes not from anesthesia, but from reconnecting with your true self, embracing vulnerability, healing old hurts, integrating the shadow so its energy becomes power instead of poison. If this resonates, you're ready to go deeper. In the next segment, we'll explore Jung's roadmap for recovery, the journey back to wholeness through conscious integration of pain, shadow, and spirit. By facing what's hidden, you transform addiction from a prison into a path home. Healing addiction means facing what you've long avoided, the shadow at the root of your pain. That dark territory, trauma, repressed memories, the silent wounds you learned to ignore, is where recovery truly begins. Carl Jung warned, "No tree grows to the sky unless its roots reach down to hell." For the addict, this hell is very real. The unprocessed hurts of childhood, the moments you felt unseen, unloved, unsafe. Gabor Maté argues the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, but connection. Most compulsions aren't about chasing pleasure. They're desperate bids to ease chronic loneliness, shame, or fear. And these feelings usually start young. As neuroscience confirms, a child's brain wires itself around the emotional care it receives. Safety and acceptance build healthy circuits, neglect or coldness warp them, teaching the child that pain goes unanswered. Trauma isn't just violent shock. It's any overwhelming emotion the child couldn't handle. Every unaddressed fear, every time you couldn't defend yourself, lodged in your nervous system. Addiction then becomes an emotional prosthesis, offering fleeting relief. A drink, a purchase, a scroll, a binge. Each gives a taste of peace, but only deepens the void because you're numbing pain, not resolving it. True recovery must honor the body because the body remembers what the mind forgets. Trauma pulses in muscle tension, in restless sleep, in that jangling unease you can't explain. Healing begins when you stop resisting these sensations and listen. Compassion replaces guilt. Shame slowly lifts when you realize your behaviors were responses to suffering. But insight alone isn't enough. You must descend into your unconscious, the reservoir of denied urges and buried hopes. Addiction speaks to that lost part of you. It's the shadow asking for integration. You're not fighting an enemy, you're confronting a messenger. Your compulsions point to precisely where your soul aches. This descent is neither quick nor comfortable. It means acknowledging how often you silenced yourself to stay safe, denied your needs to keep the peace, and sacrificed your wholeness for acceptance. It means relinquishing the illusion that willpower alone can fix you. Jung's metaphor holds. You must touch your own hell, your shame, your fears, your grief, to grow beyond it. When you finally face that darkness, something profound happens. The wound stops needing medicine from outside. You discover that what you really craved, a sense of belonging, self-worth, inner peace, was inside you all along. Addiction loses its power because its original purpose is met, not through escape, but through genuine connection to your own heart. Recovery becomes a journey of integration. You learn to hold your anger without lashing out, to feel your sadness without collapsing, to embrace your desire without being consumed. These emotions, once taboo, become allies, fuel for creativity, compassion, resilience. Your shadow transforms from tormentor into teacher. This path is also spiritual. Addiction, at its core, is a crisis of meaning, a failed attempt to touch the sacred. Jung saw addiction as a spiritus contrapositus, a counterfeit spirit yearning for transcendence. True healing invites you to reconnect with something greater, whether you call it soul, self, nature, or purpose. You rebuild a symbolic life, rituals of care, practices of presence, acts of service that nourish your deeper longings. This work doesn't end with one triumphant moment. It's an ongoing process, small decisions to choose connection over anesthesia, to sit with discomfort instead of running, to speak your truth instead of numbing it. Over time, these choices reforge your identity. You're not just in recovery, you're becoming whole. If you've stayed with this journey so far, you're already beginning to reclaim your life. Your story matters, your pain has purpose, and your path to freedom is unfolding. To continue this transformation, watch the next video. We'll explore practical tools and daily practices to deepen your self-connection and prevent relapse. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, comment below what spoke to you, and subscribe. Because real healing happens in community, and you deserve support every step of the way. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.